frequency? It's what you can sense and feel beyond your five sense perception system. It's what you know beyond the mind. It's what you can innately connect with at a level that transcends logic and reason. We are moving out of a state of consciousness that is determined by the mind, thought, concepts and ideologies, and into a felt sense, embodied and directly experienced state of reality. We're moving into gnosis over knowledge as a humanity and as a planetary body. And that's going to be at the heart of today's exploration, this shift to frequency first, which is changing the way that we teach, learn, grow, communicate, interact and experience each other and life on Earth. Welcome to the channel. My name is Natasha. This is the home of embodied spirituality, and you are so welcome here. I'm here to support cosmic change makers, new earth leaders, and heart-led visionaries to integrate in their awakening process and to actualize their highest potential in this incarnation. If you enjoy this content, I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit the notification button because YouTube is notorious at not alerting people about my videos when they come live. And if this content is helpful for you, I invite you to like the video and comment, share your perspective. It really helps those within our community experience a different perspective, but it also helps other people outside of this channel find this content so that they can benefit from what's shared here too. So if you're a regular here on the channel, or you resonate with my content and you feel that we are part of the same soul fractal, then you will already be experiencing this shift to frequency first ways of experiencing yourself and reality. This shift in consciousness that is occurring is happening very, very rapidly, and it is a shift that was already prophesized by the human design system. It's something that I read about 2 or 3 years ago, the shift from mental awareness to solar plexus or emotional awareness as our primary operating system. And it's something that at the time of reading about it, the great solar plexus mutation it's referred to, I didn't understand at an embodied level. I didn't have gnosis, which is direct experience and knowing of this concept. It was still just a concept to me. But within the last year especially, I have started to directly experience and actually start to migrate my awareness into a much more embodied and frequency first way of being. And I can see that this is now taking place very rapidly within collective consciousness. So this shift to frequency first, especially as the age of Aquarius starts to burgeon, is a very exciting shift for humanity, because it's going to pierce through all of the layers of fallacy and superficiality that humanity is being engaged in and with. And from this state of identification with our human interface primarily, and a level of forgetfulness about our spiritual nature, we've become very engrossed in superficial, obvious, tangible and immediate layers or aspects of reality. Which means that a lot of information, a lot of energetic feedback, a lot of truth is being missed, is being avoided, is being denied. And that is what the frequency first shift is going to change. So let's use an example. When you walk into a room and you can just feel the atmosphere is charged with conflict, tension, some degree of disharmony. How do you know that? If you've just walked into the room and you can sense that, how are you receiving that information if no one has said to you there's been an argument? If you are not witnessing the argument, but you can feel that there's tension, how are you receiving that information that there is something happening in that room that is disharmonious? You're receiving the energetic information, which is beyond the words, it's beyond what you can tangibly see or hear or feel, right? It's not just what you can feel at a tactile level, it's what you can feel at a clairsentient level with your levels of empathy, with your attunement to energy. This is what the frequency first shift is now moving us into. It's energetic attunement, which if you're a human design projector as I am, you're naturally orientated towards anyway. Now, coming back to that example of sensing conflict in a room, why is that important? because you are sensing the underlying truth of what is happening. Even if at a surface level, at a superficial level, people are like smiling, or, you know, they're going about their activities, and there doesn't appear to be at an immediate obvious level any conflict or tension, you can sense energetically that something is amiss. And it's important because truth is revealed there. It's not revealed in the actions that you're observing. It's not revealed in the words that are being spoken. It's being revealed through the energetic transmission, which is more subtle. And humanity has been engaged in such a superficial, gross and tangible level of reality that the subtle has been missed and forgotten. But that's what the frequency first shift is changing. So we know that energy reveals truth, and we are becoming more lucid and aware of this now as we start to shift towards a frequency first paradigm and state of consciousness. What does that mean for you at a soul level, at an evolutionary level? It means that you are being invited and perhaps even urged to start being true to yourself. You're likely sensing this need to start being radically more authentic, to start expressing yourself more clearly, with more clarity, with more confidence in yourself from a state of empowerment. You're starting to feel where there are misalignments with your relationships, your work situations, your living situations, your friendship networks, your communities. You're starting to feel in the field where you've been operating from mistruth, where you've been allowing your egoic identity and more superficial needs and desires to dominate your experience instead of your soul's truth, instead of what the divine is willing for you. This shift for you at an individual level is inviting you to start being true to who you are, dropping the masks, dropping the facades, dropping the guards, dropping all of the performative aspects of when I'm with this person, I've got to tense, become rigid, say these words, present in this way, even though at a core level, at a core soul, felt sense knowing level, this is actually really not right for me. I feel I have to, I'm obligated to show up in this way. We're done with that paradigm. We're done with performative ways of expressing and presenting. This is all superficial. It's all egoic. It's all aligned with mistruths. It's going to collapse if it's not already collapsing in your life. All of these ways of being, all of the structures in your life that are built on these ways of being will now be dismantled. Either consciously, with you deciding to remove yourself from misaligned situations, with you deciding to modify relationships so that they're empowering, you deciding to modify your work and how you live and show up in the world so that it's actually honoring your soul's dignity and integrity. Whether you consciously choose that or whether that is forced upon you because you're in egoic resistance, this shift is now happening. It's taking place very rapidly. So you are being invited now to start really establishing yourself in your sovereign truth, starting to allow your authentic frequency to emanate into the field, to be experienced by those around you. And what's going to happen is when you drop the masks and the facades and all of the superficial ways you've been hiding who you truly are, those that are for you are going to find you, whether that's your clients, whether that's your divine counterpart, whether that is your communities and true friendship groups, whether that is your collaborative, partners, mentors, guides, business partners, whatever the context, animal soulmates, environments, you are going to start attracting and magnetizing that which is truly aligned for you, because it can be felt, seen, sensed and received by the field. If you are playing and masquerading and hiding who you truly are, the field and those that are in the field that are meant for you can't find you. They've got to have high levels of perception and awareness to be able to sort through all of the gunk and the junk in your auric field so that they can actually feel who you truly are. And so your soul wants you aligned with the people, places and experiences that are going to help you actualize your potential and dharma in this life. God wants that for you. That's what you intended when you came to Earth at this time. It wasn't to play roles. It wasn't to maintain these old established identity structures. It wasn't to just keep cycling in what's conventional and considered normal on the planet. All of that's collapsing. You're here to pioneer. You're here to lead the way for humanity in terms of living, breathing, and embodying authentically, from a space of integrity, from a space of love, from a space of truth, from a space of joy, because fear is not who we truly are. We're not naturally fearful beings in our most exalted state. That's what happens when we are identified with just purely survival and that kind of human biological interface and the 3D. We become very, very fear-based. It is our spiritual nature, which is limitless, expansive, infinite, creator-based, that liberates us when we integrate into that. So your soul is now asking you to get very, very honest about how true you're being to yourself, how much you're honoring your true frequency as a being, your unguarded innocence, which I spoke about in the last video, your organic presence, so that you can live a life and experience an incarnation that is guided by the highest spiritual principles and truths available. With a frequency-first paradigm, there's no hiding. As humanity continues to evolve, we're going to become highly attuned to the subtle. We're going to be able to read the field so that it is quite irrelevant, really, what words are coming out of people's mouths, what ways they present at a physical aesthetic level. It doesn't matter how big they puff up their feathers and, try and present a certain persona to the world. You see this a lot in the spiritual community, right? Like all the gear, no idea. All of that egoic stuff is becoming irrelevant because with frequency, we can't hide. Someone can say something with their words and their energy can say something completely different. The truth is revealed at a frequency level. And so we can't masquerade and hide in this paradigm, in this new earth architecture. We are being invited with the age of Aquarius to come into states of radical truth and to come into states of autonomy and sovereignty that are going to benefit the whole. Aquarius is a very humanitarian energy and archetype. And it's also highly focused on technology, not just the technology we develop at a human level, but our innate technology as multidimensional beings, which includes our extrasensory perceptions, which are being heightened at this time so that we can sense, feel, and attune to the subtle, attune to frequency, attune to truth, and really kind of wield a sword of discernment more robustly and cut through all the bush and the crap that's been established at an egoic fear-based level on the planet. So what I invite you to do is to start really becoming present and lucid to what you know at a level of gnosis, at a level of direct experience beyond what your mind thinks it knows. What can you feel and sense beyond what you can see, smell, taste, touch, hear? What is a truth that is just very clear to you that you can't logically, pragmatically, conceptually rationalize? This is how you're going to start attuning to frequency, when you start noticing these things. And really crucially, when it comes to frequency first, our bodies are the transmitters and receivers of this frequency-based truth. So it's also imperative for this transition for you to start migrating out of the mind and into the body. It's imperative that you start focusing on regulating your nervous system so that you can move out of fear-based survival states. It's imperative that you start breathing more deeply into this body and opening this body so that you can become more receptive to the energetic truth in the field, so that you can start receiving vital information and guidance that's always being transmitted to you by the creation field, so that you can feel and experience your truth beyond the rigidity, contraction, tension of being fear-based. you will be able to feel your soul and your core frequency in an open, healthy, and healed body. So many spiritual teachings of old have conditioned us to try and escape this body, have villainized this body, or have in some way diminished this body, when actually this body is the portal to integrated awakening. So it's actually now imperative to make the transition from the mind into the body and into an open, receptive, awake and lucid bodily system, so that you can become a clear channel of truth and to receive truth, which is going to align you with your soul dharma, destiny, aligned relationships, aligned environments, places, spaces and people that are healthy for you, empowering for you, allow you to feel vital, allow you to feel enlivened, allow you to feel creative and safe and loved, which is your birthright. This is what God wants for you. You have not come here to live in fear. You have not come here to live in poverty and scarcity and lack. That's the conditioning that we are now moving out of and dismantling. Your true nature is not bound by any of those things. Your true nature is one of liberation. It's a state of liberation, it's a state of freedom, it's a state of love. And you making this transition to living frequency first is going to allow you to experience a life led by love, led by truth, led by integrity, led by authenticity, and where that is reflected in your creation field. So let's just use a tangible example to start really understanding how we receive energetic information at a human level, right? How do we bridge that level of spiritual knowing with our human interface? And I'm going to use the example of spoken audible communication. I've spoken about the words that we speak, and what someone is actually saying, being at odds with potentially what their energy is communicating and transmitting. So let's go into that in a bit more nuance. I can be speaking certain words to you, but there are going to be nuances that at an energetic level that if you can become attuned to and aware of, are going to reveal the truth to you beyond the words I'm speaking. Some of those variations when it comes to the spoken word can include tone of voice, pace, volume. In terms of your direct experience of that person and your levels of alignment, even a person's voice, how you receive their voice, how you receive their expression is giving you information. What happens in your body when you receive a person's audible communication, when you receive their pace, their volume, their tone, their choice of words, not just what they're saying, but how they say it, the quality of their voice, what happens in your body, what information do you receive from their communication at that multidimensional level? When you start becoming attuned to these nuances and these subtleties, you will start to truly understand what is in alignment for you, who is in alignment for you, what you are being guided towards and away from, because your system, your body, is giving you immediate feedback. So for example, if you're receiving this message from me right now and my voice feels really jarring to you, it's like listening to nails on a chalkboard. The language I'm using is impenetrable. You can't make sense of what I'm saying. My presence in general irritates you. Then this information and what I'm sharing right now is not for you. It doesn't make me wrong, you right, or you wrong and me right. It's just feedback and at an energetic level to say, this particular person is not for you, or this particular transmission, this energy is not for you right now. Reorientate your energy and find something that feels coherent for your system. Okay, so that's just one micro example of how you can start to sort of translate energetic information and frequency and then make sense of it in terms of how you orientate yourself to live more soul-led. If, on the other hand, you receive my frequency and you receive this information and my presence and it feels inspiring, empowering, my voice feels harmonious for you, you can receive my presence and it feels very comforting, soothing, enlivening in your system, then you know that you are in energetic coherence with this field. And you might want to get curious about what it is that feels energetically aligned with me or this information, so that you can start to find other people and expressions in the creation field that also carry that frequency. Right? So get curious, what is it about this video or this channel that aligns with you, if it does align with you? Is it my presence? And if it is my presence, what is it about my presence that feels safe and empowering to you? Get curious about those qualities, because then you can start to identify them in other people. Likewise, if it's the information, what is it about the information or the style that I'm communicating the information through? Is it the setting of this video? Is it the fact that I'm immersed in the most beautiful natural setting, and that's what you enjoy about receiving this content, as opposed to someone being in a bedroom that's dark or with very stark lighting? So I invite you to lean in and get curious about your experiences of the creation field. Get curious about how you are experiencing the energies around you, so you can get clear on what feels aligned for you and what doesn't feel aligned for you. And that's going to allow you to direct your life in a way that is soul-led, empowering, expansive, and allow for greater spiritual maturity and mastery. I hope today's video has helped to clarify perhaps the shift you've been feeling and sensing, but haven't necessarily been able to put into words, or at least allows you to feel more validated in your experience, that indeed the truths you're sensing and feeling are in alignment with planetary evolution, that you are not going crazy, you are not alone in your experience, you're just ahead of the curve in terms of, where the collective is at an evolutionary level. If you are already well established in this, and there are people around you that aren't, then you're not alone. You are a change maker, you're a pioneer, you're a leader of New Earth consciousness, and it's actually time for you now, if you are in environments or around people where these truths aren't being spoken about or reflected, to start doing what I just shared. Start getting curious about, okay, why am I still in situations that clearly aren't resonant for me? What fear-based content is keeping me anchored and hooked to this situation? What do I fear will happen if I leave these dynamics, leave these environments? That's what content you want to be working with in order to liberate that fear-based energy, and then start seeking out the people, places, and environments that are aligned for you and your highest good. Because that's what you deserve. That's what the divine wills for you. That's what the divine is so wanting for you, but you must qualify yourself to experience it by choosing it yourself. By choosing it yourself at a conscious level. If you would like more support with your evolutionary process, I offer one-to-one soul mastery mentoring and individual sessions, and the information you need for that is in the description box below. And stay tuned, because in July I'm going to be revealing details of a Lionsgate journey, a free journey that is going to really support your New Earth leadership architecture coming online. Thank you so much for being here with me. A dog has just run into the field and nearly knocked the camera over, so I'm going to close today's video. Thank you so much for your presence, and I look forward to connecting again soon.